it leaves your factory, you know, a truck that's delivering it could technically take a sharp turn in a box fall and puncture the seal, or honestly, even something as dumb as like when it's put on the shelves at the store. Like, I can't stop someone from walking to Walmart and grabbing a Lunchly, going to the potato chip aisle, putting it there, and then like a day later, an employee going, that doesn't belong there, and put it back. And like, I mean, obviously they shouldn't do that. They should throw it away. Of course. But like, so there's no mold when it leaves our factories, because that's just stupid. Why would we ever let that happen? But after that point, you know, there are variables that we just can't control.
How do you go from dropping some of the highest grossing YouTuber products ever to launching one of the biggest flops the platform has ever seen? Not just a small miss either. This one didn't just struggle to make money. It turned into a full-blown reputation nightmare for the three biggest names behind it. The internet lit up. Other creators jumped in. Even licensed doctors started breaking down everything that looked off. It went from product launch to public dragging in record time. After building billion-dollar empires off chocolate bars and energy drinks, MrBeast, KSI, and Logan Paul decided they weren't done yet. They already dominated snacks. They already took over drinks. So, what was next? The kids' lunch market. That's how Lunchly was born, marketed as the healthier alternative to Lunchables. On paper, it sounded smart. In reality, it crashed harder than the NFT craze ever did. Within hours of launch, it became one of the most criticized influencer products online. And the way the trio handled the backlash, that made everything worse. Let's be real. At the time, each of them had massive loyal fan bases, millions of supporters ready to buy whatever they dropped. They also had food and beverage brands bringing in serious money. So when they teased a brand new food collab together, attention was guaranteed. But here's the thing. None of these guys were exactly known for pushing health-focused products for kids.
Lunchly turkey contains only 230 calories, which would mean a kid would need to eat about 2.7 portions to consume enough calories. And if they did that, they'd get nearly 1,300 milligrams of sodium, which is also significantly over the USDA standards. So they'd be either under-eating calories or overeating sodium.
MrBeast's chocolate brand reportedly pulled in over $250 million in 2024 alone. Before that, he launched a delivery-only burger chain that went viral for convenience, not nutrition. Then you've got Logan Paul and KSI with Prime Hydration, selling drinks the critics pointed out had high caffeine levels compared to typical sodas. Prime exploded past $1 billion in revenue at its peak. Big numbers, big hype. But kid nutrition experts? Not really their lane. So why pivot into children's lunchboxes all of a sudden? A lot of people think the answer was simple. Lunchables reportedly brings in around $1.8 billion a year. That's a huge market just sitting there. When Lunchly was announced on September 16th, 2024, the pitch was clear. This wasn't just another snack. It was better for you, healthier, good for kids. They repeated it everywhere. The website even showed side-by-side comparison charts, lining Lunchly up against Lunchables. They highlighted real cheese, more electrolytes, and lower sugar. It looked official. It looked convincing. On launch day, major outlets repeated the same words, healthier and better for you. The headlines made it sound like a smart upgrade. But anyone who actually zoomed in on the nutrition labels, they weren't buying it. The ingredients told a more complicated story. And once people started reading closely, the mood online shifted fast. One of the first big voices to speak up was Dan TDM. He tweeted, "What happened to YouTubers? Man, I can't not say anything anymore. This is selling stuff for the sake of making money. Simple. How does this benefit their fans? This is selling crap to kids who don't know better than to trust the people who are selling it to them do better."
Lunchly versus Lunchables. Turkey stack 'em. 310 calories.
230 calories.
21 grams of sugar.
Only 7 grams of sugar.
If you look at this close up, you can already tell which one has better ingredients.
That post went everywhere. Dan isn't a nutritionist, but he is a father and a creator with a young audience. He made it clear he felt uncomfortable seeing influencer brands target kids with big health claims. And he wasn't alone. Other creators chimed in. Even PewDiePie, who once openly respected MrBeast's grind, showed support for the criticism. When fellow YouTubers start questioning you publicly, that's when things get serious. Then the doctor stepped in. Dr. Mike uploaded a video breaking everything down calmly and clinically. He admitted that some claims were technically true in small ways, but he also pointed out that Lunchly didn't meet certain nutritional standards used in school lunch guidelines. That detail mattered. It challenged the whole healthier narrative. Later, another respected physician, Dr. Brian Sutterer, reacted to Logan's comparison post and wrote that sodium getting rebranded as electrolytes will be taught in marketing textbooks one day. That line hit hard. In his follow-up video, he explained that most kids eating pre-packaged lunches don't need extra electrolyte drinks in their daily routine. Suddenly, this wasn't just drama. It was a debate about marketing language versus real health value.
Opinion on Lunchly. Yeah, I only found out about it yesterday. Like, you can tell none of them are parents. Because you should not feed your kids that garbage. Like, what the fuck?
By this point, the Lunchy controversy had taken over timelines. Reaction videos were everywhere, comment sections were brutal, and the product barely had time to breathe before its reputation took a hit. Sales reportedly slowed almost immediately. That's tough for any brand, especially one launched with so much hype. Now here's where it gets wild. A normal company facing this kind of pushback might pause, tweak the messaging, clarify claims, maybe even adjust the formula. That's damage control 101. But instead of taking that route, the trio leaned into defense mode. Critics were framed as haters. Concerns were brushed off as people chasing views. That attitude didn't calm the storm. It made it louder. To be fair, MrBeast's written response was more measured than the others. He stated, "Lunchable sells hundreds of millions of units, and countless people eat it. Our goal is to give people a better-for-you alternative to it." That sounded reasonable on the surface, but by then, the trust gap had already opened, and once trust slips, it's hard to patch it back up. What started as a simple product launch turned into a full-scale online meltdown. A brand meant to dominate lunchboxes became a case study in influencer marketing gone wrong. And the internet? It hasn't forgotten. Obviously, eating fresh chicken and broccoli is healthier, but if someone is going to eat a pre-made meal like this, which millions of people do through Lunchables, then I think giving them a higher quality version at roughly the same price is a net good, in my opinion. That was the calm, logical take. And honestly, it made sense on paper. But while MrBeast tried to keep things measured, Logan Paul and KSI seemed determined to turn a messy launch into a full-blown disaster. Logan, clearly fired up, decided it was a smart move to publicly debate an actual sports medicine doctor about what electrolytes mean. After Dr. Brian Sutterer criticized the marketing spin, Logan shot back, saying it was crazy how even a sports medicine doctor can't tell the difference between sodium and potassium, and even called him an idiot.
What happened to YouTubers, man? I can't not say anything anymore. This is selling stuff for the sake of making money. Simple.
I'm sure there's just been an influx of Dan TDM fans just lowering the IQ of this fucking Reddit, man.
Yes, he really went there. Dr. Sutterer didn't flinch. He responded, "Crazy how a professional wrestler wants to start a debate with me about his electrolyte drink. But if the replies weren't turned off, maybe we could." That line hit like a clean uppercut. The internet jury wasted no time. Once Dr. Sutterer uploaded a breakdown explaining what electrolytes actually are, most people agreed Logan walked straight into that loss. And while people expect chaos from Logan at this point, what happened next was even worse. KSI jumped in, not to clarify the nutrition claims, but to go after Dan TDM personally. Instead of addressing concerns, he tried to paint Dan as bitter and jealous. One tweet turned into a non-stop rant. KSI mocked Dan's old toy merch. He brought up Dan's past candy sponsorships. He kept pushing. The wild part? KS. I himself had worked with some of the same brands he was clowning Dan for. That contradiction didn't go unnoticed. When another creator, Kai Cenat, dropped a McDonald's collab just weeks later, KSI somehow dragged Dan back into the conversation again. It looked obsessive. A few creators sided with KSI. FaZe Banks tweeted, "Hate to say it, but the same people who were complaining about MrBeast KSI and Logan Paul launching a Lunchables competitor are celebrating Kai and Nat's McDonald's collab. For the record, I think both are great. Just some of you are so painfully fake, it's impossible." But the comparison didn't fully land. One top reply explained the difference clearly. A McDonald's collab is just a fun promo meal. It's not claiming to be healthier than anything. Lunchy, on the other hand, positioned itself as the better-for-you option.
I think if you're making a candy, while yes, overconsumption of candy and added sugar is a problem, I think a candy is not considered a health food. But when you say Lunchly is healthy or a healthier alternative, that's making claims that if debunked, you would face some criticism.
That's a completely different lane, and that double standards debate pushed Dr. Mike to weigh in again, calmly breaking down why the health marketing was the core issue. But while the online arguments were still heating up, something much worse hit the timeline. A huge selling point of Lunchly was its use of real cheese instead of cheese product. That was a flex they kept repeating. And then, just weeks after launch, customers started posting photos of mold inside unopened Lunchly boxes. Real mold. Inside sealed packages. One of the first big creators to show it publicly was Rosanna Pansino. While filming a comparison video between Lunchly and Lunchables, she opened a pack and found visible mold. She tweeted, "Just opened my first Lunchly ever. So much mold. What flavor of mold did you guys get?" Then followed it with, "Please be careful, everyone. This is not safe and not okay, especially for children." Now here's where things got messy. Rosanna had previously criticized MrBeast before, so some fans instantly accused her of exaggerating. People said it was staged. Others claimed it was one bad pack. Some streamers even tried to debunk her live. But in doing that, they found mold themselves. That backfired fast. Streamer BMC opened a pack on broadcast and showed visible spores growing inside. That clip spread everywhere, and once multiple reports started popping up, it wasn't just clout chasing anymore. The volume of complaints grew. Eventually, even the FDA confirmed they had been notified about the mold reports, including claims of people feeling sick after eating it. Now, to be fair, mold in prepackaged food doesn't automatically prove intentional wrongdoing. Manufacturing issues can happen. Storage conditions can affect products. In an interview with Oompaville, MrBeast explained how distribution and handling could sometimes be outside their direct control. That's a reasonable explanation. But what made everything worse? Logan and KSI laughing about the mold controversy on their podcast. At the peak of concern, when parents were worried, they joked. That tone didn't sit well at all. When your product is food aimed at kids, humor about contamination is not the move. Rumors of a recall started circulating online. Both Logan and the FDA denied that any official recall happened. Still, by that point, trust was already shaken. Some people were buying Lunchly just to test the mold rumors for themselves. That's not brand loyalty, that's curiosity mixed with doubt. And then came the silence. With Prime and Feastables, they bragged constantly about record-breaking sales. But with Lunchly? Quiet. No big victory numbers. No massive sold-out posts. That silence spoke louder than any tweet. By almost every metric, Lunchly looked like a commercial flop. But the fall wasn't just about mold or marketing claims. There was a bigger trend happening in the background. Prime Hydration, which helped separate Lunchly from competitors, was already losing steam. After explosive growth, reports showed major sales drops in 2025. UK revenue reportedly fell around 70%. Globally, sales dipped significantly. When your anchor brand slows down, the spin-off product feels it too. And this isn't new territory. Years before the chocolate hype, MrBeast launched MrBeast Burger. It started with huge excitement and then faced waves of complaints, late deliveries, inconsistent quality, raw food claims. Prime has also faced lawsuits alleging deceptive marketing and labeling concerns. Whether those cases win or not, they chip away at brand confidence. By the time Lunchly dropped, the trio's reputations were already under pressure. MrBeast was facing fresh online allegations. Logan was still dealing with backlash from CryptoZoo, the controversial crypto project that left many fans frustrated. Momentum was fading. And here's the truth. Controversy can boost views. It can trend hashtags. It can drive engagement. But when you're selling food, that kind of attention hits different. People don't want drama with their groceries. They want trust. Lunchly didn't just struggle because of one tweet or one mold photo. It struggled because the hype machine couldn't outrun the credibility questions. And once that doubt creeps in, it spreads fast. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. Drop your comments down below and let me know what you think about the Lunchly fallout. And I'll see you on the next one.